water leakages, and in the process, we're losing a lot of money through those water leakages. We address the issue of hundreds of potholes across the city. You'll notice that that would have constituted what I'm calling consolidation. But in terms of advancing, we would also slowly construct roads in areas where there are no drivable roads. That is the combination I'm talking to. But further, in terms of the low hanging fruits, we arrested the water losses, which we were incurring large sums of money. We arrested also the illegal collection of electricity, where we would lose lots of money. But we also introduced indigent policy that was saying those who cannot afford to pay, and there is empirical evidence that they cannot pay, they would be introduced into the indigent register of the council, and then they will get free basic services. That is your electricity, your water, you name it. The other last one, our city was very dark at night, you know. Our city was also very, very dirty. We gave that to ourselves as
Sorry, you are muted. Kidal, you are mute. Okay.
hello, can you still hear me?
Yes, yes, we can hear you.
Apologies, apologies. There are some calls now coming in. I wanted to say we brightened our city. Firstly, by ensuring that all street lights, or most street lights, were bright enough at night. But two, we started on a campaign to clean the city. It's a huge city and an aspirant metro, second metro in the case of the province of KZN. And also above that, we are saying we are the capital city of the province of KwaZulu Natal. We can't be lagging behind in terms of service delivery, but also in terms of appearance of what constitutes what we would at least describe as an ideal city people of KZN can be proud of. Then we moved on, ma'am. We strengthened partnerships other than the critical stakeholders who would be the citizens, the business community, the taxi industry, and all organized and unorganized organizations around the city, including the workforce. Because we are saying, in terms of the workforce, we must improve on the work ethics. And for us to do that, it can be done through our exemplary and ethical leadership as the deployees. And we would go as far as saying a deployee and an employee are two different workers of the community. A deployee has got more burden because you work for the community, but you also work for your party or your organization that has sent you there. So you must go beyond the call of duty. And that's the culture we inculcated, which yielded the expected results. But on the issue of both consolidation and advancing, considering that our city is a typical South African city where all classes are represented, all races are also represented, we were saying by equitably sharing or distributing the resources of the city, we are contributing in a meaningful way to social cohesion. No community must be left behind, irrespective of whether they are advanced or not. But let's be seen to be distributing something that says at least the leadership of the council considers where we're coming from, but it knows where we want to go. So we didn't have issues of racial tensions, you name them, in our communities. And that will also bring in the people from the religious communities. We met them across the spectrum. They also gave us feedback to say, this is where we are lacking, this is where we think you can improve, and you name it. But moving towards the end, ma'am, we did not do all these things because we wanted to come to a platform like this and start to brag about our own contribution. We're driven by a number of inscriptions I've come across. One of them is saying, it's our turn to eat. We wanted to discourage that kind of culture. It's a book, it's the title of a book written by Michelle Arong. and it's a story of a whistleblower from Kenya. Some of us are familiar with it, and this is a no-no. We preached as a gospel, but beyond that, we were also saying we have got, we do not necessarily have to work for legacies of our own, but let's work for the people of particularly Pietermaritzburg and surrounding areas to begin to say our city can be this and that. And I'm so happy that the entire group of colleagues we worked with put their shoulders individually and collectively on the wheel. And it cannot be isolated from the entire team and be given glory, or that glory be given to one person. Having said that, one other thing we really enforced in the council was to ensure that the strategically placed managers were subjected to performance management system with portfolio of evidence showing that they have indeed done what is expected, but also those performance management panels would have members from the communities who are neither councillors or employees of the council. Will take them from the different ward committees. And indeed, we can be very proud of what we achieved. Naturally, it could have been much better, but with time on our side, we believe we did justice to the term that was given to us. As I indicated a little earlier, 10 minutes is not a lot of time, but I think basically you need people who love their people who love their country to accept deployment, because it's not a walk in the park. It's not like a glass of milk or a teaspoon of honey. It's a lot of work, and you have to make huge sacrifices at times, which are personal. But at the end of the day, you go and have a peaceful sleep to say, I have made my contribution to better my country, but in particular, the people who reside within the city. Having said that, I want to humbly thank all of you, particularly the Gandhi Development Trust, as well as the Phoenix Settlement Trust, and all the members of the group that is participating here this afternoon. I've said it, Doc, because I've got a college council meeting starting at 3. I can delay my departure from here for about 15 minutes, then immediately I will move across. Thank you so much. And
Thank you so
congratulations to
much.
Dr. Balan. Thank you.
Thank you. And welcome to Worship the Mayor. We had to start because, you know, there are people who have time constraints. So would you like to welcome everybody officially now that you are here?
Thank you, Dr. Laganji. Thank you very much. I'm really humbled to be, and it's a great honor and privilege for me to be part of this important gathering of leaders. I'm humbled with your invitation. But I think in opening, I must actually acknowledge all the members and leaders that's present on this panel, and to come together. As when I came in here, I must apologize. I was 10 minutes late due to unforeseen circumstances that happened, and I had to attend that. I think I'm really humbled for your invitation to the newly appointed actual mayor, not acting mayor. I was an acting mayor for some times, but it gives me great honor and privilege to be part of this important meeting, to welcome our fellow speakers and leaders. I'm also thankful and overwhelmed to be part of the wonderful team that we are here today. I think that is more important. We all need to work together, uplift our communities so that not only can we as individuals prosper, but also our towns, communities, and country can grow prosperously. My input is the previous speaker had spoken a lot about local government. I'm not going to touch, but I'm here to welcome all those who are on this virtual meeting, all invitees, all guests that you have invited. It's nice to be together and have these sort of gatherings so we learn from one culture to another, which we have in us. But when we lose our identity, it is very difficult. And going forward, we need to actually instill our identity at all times so the future generation can carry our identity vigorously. Currently, when we look at it, some of our identities get lost because we do not focus on the identity. And that is my appeal to all leaders that are virtually and all invitees and guests, that we must continue to showcase our identity. And if we showcase that, you will find that we practice the best culture. I think that is more important. I just want to touch on the previous speaker. The previous speaker has spoken a lot. I know there's a lot to say. I know I'm only given 5 minutes, but I'm very thankful to you, Dr. Gandhi, for allowing me to be part of this meeting. And I was really humbled, as I said previously. But the local government that we are, I come from a ruling party, and the local government that we are in, if you look at how much of work has been done, it's numerous to mention. But what's my, going way forward, what is my major concern? The communities out there are very humbled. The informal settlements, obviously, you will find them everywhere. But we need to find ways and means how we can eradicate these informal settlements. My humble appeal to everybody to say, the community is not asking you for too much. All they want is back to basic services. And when you look at back to basic services, it's electricity, it's water, which is the more important thing. It's water and sanitation. It's electricity. It is actually keeping your town clean, which the domestic refuse and garden refuse needs to be picked up, your verge maintenance, your potholes, and decent living and healthy lifestyle. Those are the things that we give our people. They are overwhelmed with those services that we give. The difficult ones is the housings, the housing projects that we actually give them. We give them free housing, which is called the RDP homes, and which is more comfortable to the lowest of the low income. He did speak about indigent. Municipalities run their own indigent policy, which actually assists people getting some free electricity and water. I know most municipalities are doing that. And we always focus on service delivery, whilst compliance matters is with the administration. We as politicians, we serve our community with trust, integrity, and fulfill and have a good relationship. You will not have any challenges. Yes, I agree, we do have challenges as we go way forward. As you touched on COVID-19 has actually dampened the spirits of most of the people. And during the 5 or 6 months, yes, the economy has gone down. We need to all rise and shine and say, like, let us work together and grow the economy. Those are the messages that I would leave to you, Dr. Gandhi, and to the panel of leaders that you have invited, and to all those viewers on different channels. May I take this opportunity of saying them, we wish them very well in celebrating our 160 years of arrival of our ancestors into South Africa. May God bless all of us and have a good festive season and be safe wherever you are. I thank you very much, and I hope you have a very successful another 2 hours of this participating in this program. I will be with you, and I will surely take enough from the other participants that participating in this program. I thank you. God bless and remain blessed.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Worship the Mayor. Can I now ask Dr. Anamale to read out the citation and present the award to Dr. Balan? Dr. Anamale is a
Yes.
partner to Gandhi Development Trust and Phoenix Settlement Trust. He runs the National Gandhi Museum in Delhi, which is one of the most outstanding museums, and he's an authority on all the issues that and all the mementos that are left from Ghanaian legacy. So it's my pleasure to call you Dr. Namale, and thank you so much for doing this honors for us. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. It's a great pleasure for me to be part of this wonderful event. And I wanted to visit South Africa many times, but it has given ample opportunity to meet you all virtually. And the Association of Tamils in the Satyagraha movement, as everybody knows. And now I am standing before you as the representative of the forefathers of the Tamil origin who fought for justice at in South Africa. And everybody knows Gandhi changed his attire uh, when he visited Madurai, Tamil Nadu. But before that, he also changed his dress when he was in South Africa. He wear the full dhoti and jibba like Tamil. So the two dress change taking place in Gandhi's life were influenced by the Tamils. And a lot of Tamils sacrificed for during this Satyagraha movement. And today I am very honored to read out the citation and presenting this award to our Balan. He is very close to me. He is our neighboring state. I belong to Tamil Nadu and he belongs to Kerala. So we are neighbors in a way. But in a Gandhi family, we are all one. We are all together. Whether it is we are in South Africa or we are in India, we are all belongs to a family which is concerned with the Gandhian philosophy and Gandhian ideology. And you have shown the path of reconciliation. And this award is also meant for Mahatma Gandhi International Award for Reconciliation and Peace. And the world learned many things from the TRC, the Truth and Reconciliation Commission. You have arranged, you have organized. And I think world yet to learn many things from the experiences of South Africa. And it is a wonderful opportunity for me to be with you and carefully listen to your own experience on building up the local communities. And this award goes to our Balan. And now I am happy to read out the citation on behalf of Gandhi Development Trust and Phoenix Development Trust. Mahatma Gandhi International Award for Reconciliation and Peace 2019, presented to Dr. P.P. Balan on this 22nd October 2020. In recognition of his outstanding work in the promotion of peace, human rights, and justice, carried out with the highest degree of integrity, humility, and compassion towards the capacity building and empowerment of village communities to participate in local government structures, thereby enabling them to play a constructive role in delivering government services at the local level with integrity and diligence, and ensuring inclusivity of all marginalized groupings. Signed by Ila Gandhi, our respected Didi, and Chairperson of Gandhi Development Trust. I am now happy to hand over on your behalf to Dr. Balan this wonderful award of Mahatma Gandhi International Award for Reconciliation and Peace 2019.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. I just want to recognize now Dr. Sunny George, who was the person who nominated Dr. Balan. So Dr. Sunny George is presently the director at KILA, and thank you so much for nominating Dr. Balan. Dr. Balan, may I call on you to respond, to make your speech?
Yes. Yeah. You can speak.
Respected Ella Gandhi, members of the trust, honorable mayor, former mayor, and dear friends, including our Annamalai, the director of National Gandhi Museum, Delhi. It gives me immense pleasure to receive the award on international reconciliation and peace in the name of the father of the nation, Mahatma Gandhi. With the permission of all of you, I praise this award before the community. I do believe that this award did not belong to me individually. The reason is that it is for the community that we stand for. The community is the main part, including the promoters and facilitators of democratic decentralization. Really, it's a recognition to community governance, which is initiated by Mahatma Gandhi through Grama. I thank KILA Gandhi, the chairperson of TDT, and Mr. Annamalai, and also mayor and former mayor and Dr. Sunny, who proposed me to the trust for this award. I express my deep gratitude to all of you. Now, there's a presentation on Kerala experience of democratic decentralization and experiences in other parts of India and also South Asian countries. So a brief presentation. After the brief presentation, there is a space for discussion, and if there is any query, I am here to clarify. So with these few words, I request to make the PowerPoint presentation, please. Yes, next.
Oh, fast enough.
I follow Mahatma Gandhi. The future of India lies in its villages. The background of the presentation is my light words of Bapuji, Mahatma Gandhi. My idea of village Swaraj is that it is a complete republic, independent of its neighbors for its own vital wants, and yet interdependent for many others, in which dependence is a necessity. Thus, every village's first concern will be to grow its own food crops and cotton for its growth. It should have a reserve for its cattle, recreation, and playground for adults and children. Then, if there is more land available, it will grow useful money crops, thus exploding ganja, tobacco, opium, and the like. The village will remain a village theater, school, and public hall. It will have its own waterworks, ensuring clean water supply. This can be done through controlled wells or tanks. Education will be compulsory up to the final basic courses. As far as possible, every activity will be conducted on the cooperative basis. There will be no castes such as we have today, with their graded untouchability. Non-violence with the technique of satyagraha and non-cooperation will be the sanction of the village community. There will be a compulsory service of village guards who will be selected by rotation from the register maintained by the village. The government of the village will be conducted by the panchayat of 5 persons annually elected by the adult villagers, male and female, possessing minimum prescribed qualifications. These will have all the authority and jurisdiction required. Since there will be no system of punishments in the accepted sense, this panchayat will be the legislature, judiciary, and executive combined to operate for its year of office. Any village can become such a republic today without much interference, even from the present government, whose sole effective connection with the villages is the accession of the village revenue. I have not examined here the question of relations with the neighboring villages and the center, if any. My purpose is to present an outline of village government. Here, there is perfect democracy based upon individual freedom. The individual is the architect of its own government. The law of non-violence rules him and his government. He and his village are able to defy the might of the world. For the law governing every villager is that he will suffer death in the defense of his and his village's honor. Harijan, 26/7/1942, page 238. And now let me focus a role model in community participation. That is the activity conducted in Chapparapadavu Grama Panchayat. It is one of the beacon panchayats of Kerala. Altogether, there are 941 Grama Panchayats in Kerala, and out of this, 200 Panchayats are in the category of beacon Panchayats. Among them, Chapparapadavu Grama Panchayat also falls. Community participation in plan preparation, implementation, and monitoring is the very important basic thing understood by the Panchayat. So massive orientation program for Gram Sabha members were conducted in the Panchayat, and with the involvement of the people, a lot of developmental projects have been carried out. And we can see here resource mobilization through voluntary service as well as through cash and kind. In that way, they are contributing much for the implementation of the project, making it more effective and more economic. Number one, it is housing. The aim of the Panchayat is to have houses for the houseless. And within a stipulated time period of 2 years, all the people were getting their own houses, and the contribution may be from the people, maybe some 20% or 25%. So with the contribution of the people, houses were given to the houseless. Then comes total sanitation. So every house is having a latrine. And in that way, people were cooperating. And another important is the poverty reduction plan. and women empowerment through KUDUMBASHREE. A unit of KUDUMBASHREE's ADC is functioning here, and so it is there is a separate presentation on KUDUMBASHREE, so I am not elaborating much. So poverty reduction and women empowerment is undertaken by the KUDUMBASHREE. Micro hurdle project. It is a new initiative taken by the Panchayat, first of its kind in the state, and it is a best example that a Panchayat can place or take any developmental activities as it wishes. So this is a generation of electricity, that is micro hydro project, because people were waiting, depositing money in the Kerala State Electricity Board, but their demand turned to deaf ears. Finally, the people themselves came forward to generate electricity from a small stream and to give it to 25 households. It was successfully done. And two things is we have to note here. One is uh, the Panchayat generated electricity, even before, even not because there is a law, and the local people were supported by providing electricity. So in that way, it became a role model. Later, this was accepted by the government, and they made a policy change that the panchayats can also was given permission for the generation of micro hydel projects. And infrastructure development through people's participation is another important part. That is people's bus stand, people's bridge, check dams. That is, all these infrastructure development was done with the people's participation. Organized watershed-based development programs is another area where people largely participated. Prepared biodiversity register with the people's participation is another important uh, activity of the panchayat. For the first of its kind, they have done in a massive manner. Dispute resolution, that is litigation-free panchayat. So there are a number of cases in the panchayat, and these disputes are always marring the developmental activities. So to overcome that, panchayat organized a panchayat level committee to settle the disputes, and all the cases pending in the court were withdrawn, and it was resolved in a better way. So eliminating any conflict among the people, and this led to the development focus of the community in a large scale. And the achievement I am to highlight here is about the people's participation itself. So all the costless programs or cost-effective programs and no-cost activities were carried out with the help of the people. So the panchayat became people-friendly and became a role model to other panchayats to emulate. And this picture is showing the KILA campus. KILA means Kerala Institute of Local Administration. It's a replica of Grama Sabha model. So the focus is always for Grama Sabha or the village assembly and its strengthening. Kerala Institute of Local Administration, it stands for empowering local self-governments in Kerala first. Not only in Kerala, but in other states also. We are giving advocacy, or we are giving opinions, or we are interfering, or when we are called for policy matters. And also South Asian countries, especially the neighboring countries such as Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, Nepal, and Bhutan, sharing our experience internationally. Strengthening Grama Sabha is the main focus of the institute. By organizing Grama Yatra, means peoples to people contact program all over Kerala. Because if the local government system is to function, there must be very serious participation among the people. There must be vibrant Grama Sabha. In order to make the Grama Sabhas vibrant, there must be proper intervention. A conscious intervention is required. So with the involvement of 24 lakh people, we could achieve that. Grama Sabha training training for the Grama Sabha members means the ordinary voters. The content you can see. It's interesting. Democratic decentralization. It's an orientation program. Roles and responsibilities as a member of Grama Sabha. And also strengthening Grama Sabhas, interventions, possibilities. There will be ample opportunity for group discussion. So people are having their own space for intervention to clear their doubts. So in that way, clarity in the functioning of Grama Sabha is made in all these training programs. During the 12th five-year plan, there was more enormous participation of the people in the Grama Sabha. Role of Grama Sabhas and Ward Sabhas are highlighted in these training programs. You can see once again elaborating about the Grama Sabha training. There were 2 lakh trainers. First we trained these 2 lakh people. Then we went to the field and 24 lakh voters were trained in a massive scale. You can see then in the front row, you can see the photo of our Chief Minister, the then Chief Minister, Sri Ummanchandy. He is participating in the Grama Sabha not as a VIP, but an ordinary member. It is his own Grama Sabha. As a voter, he is taking part in the Grama Sabha meeting. And also we can see ministers attending in training of Grama Sabha members. In the training program also, ministers are participating not as a VIP, but as an ordinary member. And another initiative is the establishment of Seva Gram, Grama Kendra. Seva Gram is a Varda concept, propagation of Gramjina ideology, functioning of local governments brought to one more level, that is to the ward level. That is to strengthen the ward and to have a popular assembly there, that is Grama Sabha, and to have a people's government at the ward level. That is the main aim of the establishment of Seva Gram Grama Kendra. It made easily available services to the people. It's a mini panchayat. It functioned like a mini panchayat. Grama Panchayat Development Plan, GPDP of Government of India. So drawing experiences from Kerala, the Government of India took the initiative of preparing Grama Panchayat Development Plan throughout India. So all the states were involved to strengthen the local government system, to strengthen the Panchayat Raj system, and massive training program, orientation program was given not only for the elected members and officials and for the NGOs, but also for the ordinary voters. So the enlightenment program was focusing on social audit. People are to be capable enough to conduct social audit. So Grama Sabha will be a forum for social audit. The budget is approved in the Grama Sabha and expenditure is to be approved in the Grama Sabha. So social audit is the important aspect where ordinary people took part and to have accountability, to ensure accountability. Then another focus is on sanitation, prevention of malnutrition, quality education, kitchen gardening, crop productivity, ecology development, women and child-friendly panchayat, that is another concept. Livelihood activities. The main focus is on economic development. So through self-help groups, we are giving much trust on the livelihood activities, and micro level enterprises are also there. Promotion of self-help groups and e-governance. Technology is brought largely in the local governance system. And even the common people are well aware about the technology, in the sense that through WhatsApp group, they have formed a WhatsApp group to attend the Grama Sabha and to have discussion in the Grama Sabha. In Jammu and Kashmir, because I am showing this example because Jammu and Kashmir at that time was the most disturbed state, and here Panchayat Raj brought peace and development. In the year 2011, there was Panchayat election. We can see the massive turnout in the election, that is 89% polling was there. Nowhere in any other states this much of level of polling was achieved, because the people of Jammu and Kashmir believed that if panchayats are in place, then naturally peace will come. And support was given to the backward regional grant fund implementation in the border states of Kupwara, Poonch, Doda, and Kishtwar. And ultimate result was that there was calm and peace for a period of 4 or 5 years when the panchayats were in position. When the panchayats are not in position, naturally problems arises. Empowering local governments in South Asia. Capacity building training for elected representatives and officials. Extended support based on collaboration with National Institute of Local Governments, Bangladesh. It's a National Level Institute of Bangladesh. Then SLILG, Sri Lanka Institute of Local Governments, and Government of Bhutan, Government of Nepal. So they were coming to KILA for undergoing training, and we are also going to their places and imparting training. And you can see our association with the Commonwealth Local Government Forum. So in the meeting, we were presenting the Kerala model of decentralization, and many of the Commonwealth countries are accepting the Kerala model of participatory planning. International conferences for sharing Kerala experience. That is a yearly program. Sometimes once in every 6 months, we are organizing international programs. Democratic decentralization and people's participation, one subject. And another important subject was deepening democracy through participatory local governance. In 2014, we organized Gandhi, Grama and Democratic Organization. 2015, the local governance and right-based development. And Thinkers Workshop on decentralization and development is another focus. Marginalization, poverty, and decentralization is another subject for the international conference that was organized on 2016. And other capacity building initiatives in Kerala, formulation of networks for experience sharing. That is very important because we organize a program namely Panchayat to Panchayat. So beacon panchayats are identified and backward panchayats are taken to that panchayat to make them understand how that panchayat is functioning in a better way. That is known as Panchayat to Panchayat. And helpline system for concurrent support. So in order to have the doubts clarification and any confusion, we are giving helpline system. In that way, they are giving very good support in the implementation of the programs. And new structure for dissemination of innovative practices. So there is new structure is published in a large scale, and it was reaching in every village room. Village room means reading room. And ordinary people are getting information about the new developments in development. Resource centers for building the local information system. So in the Sabha and Grama Kendra, the main focus is on giving information. People are getting updated information about the development activities of the panchayat and also that of the government and central governments. Development of manuals for local planning, district planning, watershed development. Institutionalization capacity building, strengthening the decentralized training system. So KILA is not the only agency that is giving training. KILA will be at the apex. Then we have decentralized training systems at each and every district. Establishment of online monitoring system for training evaluation, training for support systems of local governments, documentation of best practices and replication, concurrent consultation with associations of local governments and other key stakeholders, like the various associations that is functioning in various countries. We have a strong association of the elected representatives of local government. So they are helping in the policy matters, and also we are supporting them in capacity building. Training for political party leaders. So political party is playing a prominent role because everything is, in a democracy system, everything is run through politics. So we are enlightening the various political party leaders. Training for legislative of Kerala means the MLAs, member of the assembly, are trained in a big way to make them understand about the functioning of the local governance and also functioning of the Panchayat Raj institutions and municipal institutions. So orientation program was conducted for strengthening these legislators and have inputs for policy matters. Training for media persons. So another important area where we are interfering is to get the proactive support of the media In that way, both print and electronic media people are given massive training. So they had to give much publicity for the best practices that is existing in the panchayats. Specialized training, elected heads of local governments, CEOs of local governments, standing committees, women representatives, SC/ST representatives, officials of local sub-governments, transferred officials of local sub-governments, other stakeholders. So this is the massive training program that we are conducting under the auspices of KILA. And decentralized training system, as I have already mentioned, training is not confined to one institute. So it is decentralized. You can see at the bottom, we can see simultaneous training in 152 centers. There are the block centers. Not only in the 14 districts, but in the 150 block centers are main activity of training is going on. And here we can see that it is not a one-time affair. It is a continuous affair. That is, wave after wave. After one training, there will be another training. So it will not stop. Every time the elected members and officials and the NGOs, they are all to come to various training centers to undergo training. So you can see the map of Kerala and the 14 district training centers, which is the major part, and all the blocks we have the 152 training centers. Strengthening support system for capacity building. There is the planning committee, working groups, subcommittees, non-governmental organizations, legislators of Kerala, leaders of political parties, local government association, researchers, and media persons. And you can see a conference for the MLAs, member of Legislative Assembly. On the stage, there is the Chief Minister and also the opposition leader. Why I am mentioning about the Chief Minister and the opposition leader is that they belong to the different political parties. So different political parties are joining hands in the development of the Panchayat. This picture is the best example. Despite all the political rivalries and differences of opinion, for development, they are coming together, they are joining together. Lawmakers urged to guide local bodies. It's an important event held in KILA and workshop for legislators. Strengthening support systems, action-oriented research programs, documentation of good practices of local sub-government institutions, replication of good practices, Panchayat to Panchayat visits, training, participatory learning series, policy workshops, certificate course in decentralization. This is confined to the elected members. Elected members are getting enough space for studying more on decentralization through this course. So these participants, after winning the examination, they will be the master trainers of KILA. So elected members, they are having the field experience and they will become the master trainers when they undergo once this course. So this is a team from Sri Lanka. Sri Lankan councillors to undergo training at KILA. Certificate course for elected representatives from Bangladesh. Established Gandhiji Art Gallery at KILA with the paintings. So there is a beautiful art gallery of Mahatma Gandhi. The Grama Swaraj is the first subject that we are dealing whenever a training program is starting. Not a crowd puller, but the crowd pulls Mahatma. In Sri Lanka, I will share some international experience. Northern province of Sri Lanka, they followed the Kerala model of participatory planning. And there is no reservation system until recently. And drawing examples from Kerala and India, they have given 20% reservation for women. The panchayats in Sri Lanka are known as Pradeshya Sabha. There is a Jana Sabha in line with the Grama Sabha in Kerala or India. So community plans are prepared by the Jana Sabha. And they are also focusing on local resource mobilization. Promotion of volunteerism is one of the key areas of intervention of the Pradeshya Sabha. So there is only one local government, that is the Pradesh Sabha. and also the municipality in the cities. Transparency and accountability systems are given much focus when this institution of Jana Sabha came into existence. A meeting. In Bhutan, coming to Bhutan, their main focus is on GNH, gross national happiness. Everybody knows that it is built upon 4 pillars: good governance, sustainable socio-economic development, cultural preservation, and environmental protection. The local government is also focusing on all this. So there is a 3-tier system. At the district level, there is Dongkang. At the blocks, there is the Geogs, number is 205. At the village level, there is 1044 Cheongs. There is the assembly of people, the community. The community is involved in GNH. To attain the GNH, the community is given more prominence. So it is the edifice of GNH is built upon the community plan, and the community plan is based on participatory. That is a replication from Kerala. Women-owned markets. You can see a number of markets in Bhutan, in the Thimbu, in the capital city also. We can see a number of markets run by women. So women empowerment is there, but there is no reservation in the panchayats, in the local government for the women, because they say that it should come within, it should not be something that must be thrust upon. So community participation in governance, that is an important part of or aim of local governance in Bhutan. You can see the beautiful river. It is protected by the people. They can drink this water near the Thimbu. And you can see the training program, community training program in Bhutan. And Indonesia also, we have given some inputs on participatory planning, and one training program is going on in Indonesia, and this is mainly for women empowerment. The KUDUMBASHREE, there is a system where there is a presentation here. I don't want to elaborate. Skill development, livelihood, women empowerment is the main focus. So some pictures are there, paddy cultivation of KUDUMBASHREE. So manual work they are doing. KUDUMBASHREE unit, tailoring, and goat farm. Learning and accounting, mapping unit, event management. So they have put their hands everywhere in every developmental activity. Choir, if you bring, E-Seva Kendra, disaster management and community participation. What is the ultimate result? There was a flood in the year 2018 and also in 2019. And during this flood, a lot of people came forward without a direction from the above for rescue operation. I do believe that this is a big main contribution of decentralization. The voluntary service was much and many-sided, and it was a role model because people from various walks of life and joined in the reconstruction activities in a fully voluntary mood. And that is the greatest achievement of democratic decentralization. And during the COVID-19 pandemic also, at the ward level, there are voluntary committees. Voluntary services are there. They are giving free food to the needy, and they are helping the patients, and they have a number of medical and non-medical activities. These are all done without collecting any money. So free service. So we could prevent the spread of pandemic in a large scale, mainly because of the involvement of the voluntary team. So this is also another important good result of participatory planning and also the strong local decentralized governance system. I believe our journey towards reconciliation and peace by deepening democracy and strengthening local self-governments which ensure human rights and economic freedom is progressing. We have to travel Further along the way, let us travel with the villagers.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Balan. I think now my colleague Ursula Nancy will take over as the facilitator. Ursula?
Hello, good afternoon all. Thank you very much, KILA, as chair, and good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your time that you are here. So I'm going to start very quickly with our first speaker, who's going to be talking about local government in South Africa. What has been its achievements and its drawbacks since liberation in 1994? So we're talking about 24-year-old period. So our presenter is none other than Dr. Pascal Malloy. And Dr. Malloy has been working in the local government space for more than 30 years. So this was even before 94. He has got first-hand experience on local government issues because he's been the first city manager of Johannesburg, of the big city of Johannesburg, after the 2000 local government elections. And he was also the CEO of the Johannesburg Housing Development Agency. So Pascal Malloy has been a key player in the conceptualization, the development, as well as the implementation of strategies and plans in relation to government. Most importantly, he is a member of the Planning Commission and has played a key role in drafting the areas related to local government in the vision of the National Plan of South Africa. So Pascal Malloy has not only been involved in South African local government, but he's also got experience in Malawi, Swaziland and Ethiopia, where he has worked with the World Bank in evaluating programs. Pascal Malloy continues to work actively. He's a founding member of the Institute of Local Government Managers and was instrumental in the establishment of the South African Cities Network. So we have somebody very experienced with us, and Pascal, we would love you to share that experience with us. Thank you, Pascal. Unmute, please. Unmute.
Thank you very much for that introduction. Maybe just a major correction. I'm still Mr. I'm not a doctor yet. Unless if the Gandhi Development Trust wants to bestow a doctorate on me, I'll gladly accept. I've got a presentation. It's a couple of slides. I'm not going to go through all the slides. And I was hoping to share my screen if the host will allow me. Is my presentation on your screens? Hello?
Kidaan?
Yes, can you see my presentation?
No.
I need the host needs to give me a host, and then therefore I can be able to share my screen.
Yeah, Kidaan, do you have the presentation? Can you allow the presentation? He's calling. Pascal, can you please continue in the meantime, and then we'll put. I'm trying to get hold of him, right?
Okay, I think it's on your screen.
It's on now, Pascal.
But am I in control?
Yes, I think so. Go
Okay,
ahead.
maybe, yeah. I won't go through all the slides, they're a bit wordy, but just in my introductory statement, to say that right from 1995, after the democratic municipal elections, there was much optimism about development of municipalities. We were all looking forward to looking at Brazilian models, and I listened very carefully to what Dr. Balan was saying about community-based participation in budgeting, in planning, in execution, and we're styling ourselves across the experiences of Brazil. But at the center of that, we've been preoccupied about developmental local government. But as we see today, we have a number of political arrangements that have complicated the running of local government administrations. At some point, there's failures to distinguish between political and administrative roles, some confusion arising between councillors and local government officials, and there have been tensions between mayors and municipal managers, and we're experiencing some fragmentation in the ruling party itself, and sometimes that cripples decisions in council, turning councils away from dealing with the issues. If I could go to the next slide. Next slide, please. Yes, the next slide just takes us through what I think was a great achievement, that we were able to, not this one, the one previous to this one, that we've been able to go through a phased transition from 1994 to the establishment of final local government structures in 2000. We had a pre-interim stage where we're amalgamating, putting together ideas. If you take Johannesburg, Johannesburg had 13 different municipalities, and ultimately they had to be amalgamated into one single unicity. We had 13 or multiple number of billing systems, and we had to have one system. We had fragmented water, electricity, sanitation, delivery systems. Everyone was collecting refuse removal and all that, and we had to consolidate all that. I think for me, looking back in the 25 years of local government, that period of building, I think was a great achievement. We had structures. I'm not talking about whether they're working optimally or not, but we were able to democratize and build strong structures at the local level. I was a member of the National Planning Commission, the first cohort for 5 years between 2010 and 2015. And we put up some ideas and some suggestions, and I'll just run through them quickly. I won't read the slides. If you could go there, about what needs to be done to get us to have a developmental capable system of local government in the country. And I'll go through some of those ideas quickly. If you can go to the next slide. Yeah, the next slide. So these are key proposals relating to local government and municipalities. That was the framework in terms of the National Development Plan and highlighting the need for a developmental state. In there, I think upfront, we're saying that there needs to be more cooperation and more cooperative ways. It's there in the Constitution. It calls for cooperative governance, but practically, I think we've been struggling as a country to get to actualize that in a meaningful way. We could go to the next slide. Next slide, please. Okay, I'll just go through the slides, and then I'm sure the Okay, can you hear me now? If you go to the next slide, it talks about the need for differentiation and regionalization. And in Dr. Balan's input again, we're talking about the same things, that we need to decentralize so that to deepen democracy and make sure that human rights are achieved. We spoke about looking at legislatures, the differentiation between legislatures and the executives at a local government needs some focus, that there should be it's very clear at national and provincial level where the responsibilities start and where they end. It's a bit muddled, I think, at local government. We looked at the future of provinces. This is an issue, I think, that has been debated since the constitution was adopted in 1996. And there are extreme views on either side. Others saying that we must strengthen provinces, but there's also a view that says that we need to reduce the number of provinces or even eliminate provinces completely. That we're not a federal state, that we need provincial administrations, but we might not need to have premiers and members of executive councils and political structures or legislatures at provincial level. Those are two extremes. I think there's merit in some of them, but there are concrete proposals that we can make, for instance, like the province of Gauteng, which is small, which is integrated, which is really dense, that it can combine municipal and state functions and be created as a city-state. And there has been a lot of talk over the years about the Gauteng city region and the Gauteng city-state. If you go to the next one, I think there are a number of proposals that have been made, including the economy, including spatial transformation. If you look at the National Development Plan. But what has been the response now? I think a response not only to the troubles and the difficulties that the local government faced, but the difficulties that the economy faced and faced even before COVID, and how we respond to the new normal that COVID has brought. Government has introduced the concept of district development models, and it basically says that there are 44 districts in the country plus 8 metros, and these 52 centers should be exactly where coordination and convergence of all government efforts, of all government plans, of all government infrastructure programs, of all government social development programs, of all government's energy and so on interventions that are required to push us on that trajectory to being a developmental government and a development state should happen in the boundaries of these 44 district municipalities. And that, I think, is something that is beginning to energize not just government, but how also government can position itself to interact with the communities, with the private sector, establish public-private partnerships, but with an intention of making sure that 44 districts all have single plans that government and the public sector and the private sector is able to ensure that it's delivered. So there will be 44 one plans, and those can be aggregated into a single plan, maybe that can be able to meet the visions and the intentions of Vision 2030. And that's been rolling out. There are pilots sites that government is putting in place, including eThekwini, which has been put aside as a pilot center. My last point would be to say that there are challenges going forward. And I'm not a politician, but I'd leave that to the Honorable Mayor. But I think we have a big challenge in terms of the emerging coalition governments, especially at local government. From 2016 through those elections, we didn't have an outright winner, winners in those elections, and we found a coalition mostly of small parties beginning to come together. My worry about those coalitions has been that they were not based like in the European countries where they've been having coalitions for many years now, that they would be based not on ideologies or ideological differences, etc., but there would be a development plan that brings different parties, political parties, to operate as coalitions. In South Africa, I think the coalitions are about getting the ANC out of power. And once that happens, they start fighting amongst themselves to the expense and the detriment of service delivery and the citizenry suffering at the end of the day. So I'll leave it there. In summary, I think we've done well in terms of putting structures. I didn't want to comment, and I'm glad that Dr. Ndlela was able to talk about service delivery issues. When we count our successes, we normally want to say how many people have access to clean water, to sanitation, to electricity, to roads and all that. I think we've done very well in terms of extending access as municipalities, as Dr. Ndlela said. But I think we need to do a little bit more. And that little bit more for me is to be able to coordinate, pull things together, make sure that our policies and our plans get translated into clear, executable programs on the ground, and that we can see outcomes and we can see delivery and better the life of our people. I'll leave it there. It's a pity that my presentation was not really quite followed me, but I hope that the organizers copy and they will be able to distribute that to all the other participants. Thank you very much.
And just sorry, yes. Hi, thank you very much for that enlightening presentation, Pascal. That was very helpful. You took us back to 1994, where you highlighted the macro challenges that we face in local government. We face 1,001 challenges, but you've given us the macro picture thereof, and the fact that in 1994 and what took place there, and that these 3 tiers of government have been something that has been difficult for us to navigate, because we are unable to navigate these 3 tiers of government properly. And it's not easy to do that. And I think you've highlighted that structural problem that we have. And the second thing you've highlighted, and which is of a more recent issue, is that of the coalition politics, which constrain service delivery. And I think people have seen that that has happened. So thank you, Pascal, for giving us the big picture around local government in South Africa. So colleagues, I'd like to introduce you to our next presenter, and his name is Praveen Vedan. And Praveen Vedan is a South African citizen. He's a lawyer. He used to work for the Legal Resources Center previously for several years. He then stood for local government elections and was successfully elected in a municipality for a few years ago. Now, the story that he's going to tell us is the story of a successful municipality or local government section, and how he ensured service delivery under great challenges and under complex circumstances. So Praveen, please share with us your experiences.
Good afternoon. Program Director, always honored to be able to share a platform with the Gandhi Development Trust, a key organization that stood by righteous principles, and today, as we can see through this virtual ceremony, is constantly adapting to best serve our people. Program Director, let me acknowledge Mayor Dolly Govender and personally congratulate her on being appointed as mayor. This is truly an historic appointment. The awardee, Mr. Balan, your journey is inspiring, and thank you for your work. Mahatma Gandhi, thank you for all that you do. I think that your work is never emphasized enough, and we all appreciate you. Let me also acknowledge Mr. Kiru Naidu, a well-known community leader that on a daily basis advocates for social cohesion and the coming together of our people, especially those small groupings that are often overlooked. I also want to acknowledge Bishop Mike Foster, all the leaders present, and everybody watching at home. So today I want to share my journey to becoming the ward councillor of Ward 71. Ward 71 is part of eThekwini municipality and consists of the areas of Shalkrus, Crossmore, Morton, and Bottlebush. It's half a formal area and half of the informal area. When I was younger, I grew up in a family that was always involved in the community and always trying their best to make changes to improve the lives of others. My father is a local lawyer. He was also a counselor in my community at one stage. And my mother is a nurse, a community nurse, and she's now retired. I studied law and I worked at commercial firms. The lifestyle was good, but of course, with commercial firms, you may be getting paid well, but you don't really have job satisfaction. It's it, it was a very interesting role. From there and through working with NGOs, I joined the Legal Resources Center, particularly focusing on human rights law. So my job was to go into communities which were destitute, look for service delivery issues such as water and sanitation, issues like sanitary pads, build up cases, strategic impact litigation amongst communities, and then to take governments to court, to get governments to act on those issues. I was very moved when the video package of these awards opened up and we heard the voice of Paddy Carney. Paddy was someone who always stood up for what was right, and he was someone who really assisted me when I was at the Legal Resources Center. So I was going out into different areas, building up cases, and trying to improve the lives of others. But my own community, where I lived my entire life, was torn with issues. There was an emergence of informal settlements. There were protests on a daily basis. And I thought to myself, if I'm going out, trying to make a difference in other areas, why can't I make a change to my own community? My mother had just retired, and my goal was to make this area safe, especially for my mother. It wasn't an easy decision. At the time, I was just 26 years old. My political branch was entirely an African branch. And for us to go in and convince people that I was the right person to be the face of this process and to lead the process wasn't an easy task. Our task was to unite the formal areas, the informal areas, the African community and the Indian community in order to win an election and in order to bring about calm, peace, and stability to our community. We engaged with various sectors. We extended our hand. We made leaders and community parts of the process. And my community gave me a vote of confidence. Last month was 2 years since I was elected into this position. Although I am 28 now, for most people, I'm always stuck at being 26 years old. We have always stood by honesty and integrity. This role, it requires you to stand by what is right, even if it means making unpopular decisions that are going to benefit your people. At the time, I was one of the youngest councillors in South Africa. This role has required a lot of creative thinking. It also requires us to realize that sometimes the policies that we have in place need to be changed and need to be adapted to best serve our people. It requires a lot of research. It requires you to have a team of people that are willing to take flak sometimes in order to make decisions that will bring about real goals. We need to start quantifying things before we start making changes. And a quantifying process of data collection is not easy. But if we follow this process, if our decisions are all based on facts, we will never have any issues. We'll always have clean governance. Because we don't just want to win another election. We want to bring about real change. My duty is to provide hope to our people, to ensure services, but also to make sure that our community is a positive place in which our people can mature, in which our people can grow older, and a place in which they can live in with acceptance, with assistance, and have services to lead lives of independence and dignity even when they grow much older. Program Director, I was reflecting on and listening to the words of many of the speakers today. And in a lesson that I think we can take away from my own election victory is that if we had focused just on the Indian community, we would have lost the election. If we had focused just on the African community, we would have lost the election. We knew that we needed to bring people together. Our communities are the way they are right now, and we need to accept that. But bringing people together was what got us to win an election. And now every day it's a process of getting people to understand one another. Our cultures, our religions, our traditions, these are things that we need to guard, we need to hold them close, and we need to continue to pass on from generation to generation. But we also need to learn that it's about time that we all started accepting one another in order to improve all of our lives. Program Director, let me once again thank you for allowing me to be part of this program and to once again congratulate the recipients. Thank you.
Unmute.
Sorry, thanks, Ila. Thank you very much, Praveen, for sharing your experiences and your insights and for highlighting the need for overcoming racial barriers in our communities. Congratulations to you for doing that work, because that is really an uphill battle, and it's something that is, as you know, from the Black Lives Matter movement, a matter that is affecting people for hundreds of years. So colleagues, owing to time, I'd like to go on to our next presenter, and she is Dr. Sajita from an organization called KUDUMBASHREE. Did I pronounce it right, Sajita? KUDUMBASHREE. I know this word Kutum, it means community. Am I right? Now Sajita is from Kerala in India, and she is part of this organization called KUDUMBASHREE, and she's presently a district mission coordinator in Kerala. Now, Kerala represents a powerful success story, both of local government and national government. It's got 100% literacy rate and very low levels of inequality. Something that South Africa has been trying to do, has placed on its radar, but that problem seems to be getting worse. So, Dr. Sajita, I hope you can share with us ideas that will help us to deal with our levels of inequality, because we've got the highest inequality index in the world, actually. It's close to 7. Now, interestingly, colleagues, Kerala is one of the few places in the world where it is characterized by matriarchy rather than a patriarchal society. Now, that's also a very rare occurrence. So we would like to see how that plays a role, Sajita, in ensuring service delivery at the local level. Over to you. Please unmute yourself.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, Ila, ma'am. Thank you all and respected personalities in the panel. And I am really humbled to be in this gracious occasion of presenting award to our Balan sir in the name of our Bapuji, who stood for the liberation of women and also believed the soul of our nation lives in our villages. And today I am very happy to introduce our KUDUMBASHREE, which is a women-centered initiative from Kerala. As mentioned, our ma'am, our Kerala has received worldwide acclaim on account of its remarkable achievements in the sphere of human development, and which has often been highlighted as Kerala model of development. Even during this period of COVID-19, our Kerala stands unique in its emergency preparedness. All these are because of our decentralization of power and wealth, which has started from the first ministry of our state government in the form of land reformation. As a part of democratic decentralization, we have established our KUDUMBASHREE. KUDUMBASHREE has set up in 1998, May 17. May 17. I can present, ma'am.
You can. You had it just now.
Slide presentation.
Go to share. Share screen.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. As I mentioned, our Kudumbashree has set up in 1998, May 17, in the context of People's Plan campaign. And the most and we know the meaning of Kudumbashree is prosperity of family. Kudumbashree is essentially a community network that covers the entire state of Kerala. It consists of a three-tier structure with the neighborhood groups as the basic level units. It consists of 10 to 19 members who represent different families. Above these neighborhood groups, we have area development society and in the ward level, and then community development societies at the Panchayat level. And now we have 43,93,000 members in our 2,91,000 neighborhood groups. And our NHG members used to meet once in a week, mostly in Sundays, and during their meeting, they discuss their problems and make joint effort to solve it. And this would bring up interpersonal feelings among our members and would generate supportive attitude to build confidence among them. Not only, now our NHD meeting has developed to the micro level plan preparatory meetings, and they make the micro level plan in the neighborhood groups, and then it will develop into the community development societies development plan. That means CDS level development plan, and it may be handed over to our local self institutions. Thus, our women members participate and help in the decentralized planning process. And we know Kudumbashree has established as a means for poverty eradication and women empowerment. And we know poverty is a multi-phased state of deprivation. Hence, a multi-pronged strategy alone can help to eradicate it. Our Kudumbashree mission is the State Poverty Eradication Mission, which is under Local Self-Government Department, and our Kudumbashree mission now encourages the resourcefulness of the poor women in terms of skills, entrepreneurship, and managerial capabilities, and makes them empowered. Our main areas of interventions are microfinance and also livelihood activities and social empowerment and women empowerment. And during their neighborhood group meeting, our members do their thrift deposits in every week. And now our thrift deposit of our members has grown to 4,000 crore. And we assist them by lending them linkage loans under subsidy scheme for their livelihood activities and other expenses. And now our members have taken a linkage loan of 19,000 crore. This shows the power of flow of microfinance activities of our neighborhood groups. Thus, there is microfinance activities and also the micro level planning activities in this neighborhood groups. And we assist our Kudumbashree members to establish micro enterprises, and also we help them to participate in the agri activities, animal husbandry activities, and also we help to get wage employment and also enhance skill development. And as a part of encouraging livelihood activities, we have now formed more than 19,000 micro enterprises in our state and in various sectors like service sector, etc. And our micro enterprises have become not only a means for livelihood, but has developed to the symbol of gender equality and women empowerment. We have constituted more than 250 women construction groups here, and also now our KUDUMBASHREE members manage our metro railway, and also we have constituted green volunteers called Haritakarma Sena in 90% of our local bodies who may collect plastic and other waste and may recycle them, and thus they always help our local bodies to keep our environment neat and clean. And in addition to this, now we have also involved in animal birth control activities in the control of stray dog problem, etc. That is also coming under our micro enterprises. And in addition to this, as a part of livelihood generation, now we have promoting farm livelihood activities also. Here we have more than 74,000 joint liability groups of women farmers and doing these farming activities. And also we are doing animal husbandry activities and many other such livelihood activities can be seen here. And also we promote the marketing of the products of our entrepreneurs and farmers by conducting weekly, monthly markets, melas, and also we have got some space in our online marketing system. And in addition to livelihood activities, we also involved in social empowerment activities. We have formed, in addition to the normal neighborhood groups, we have formed the special neighborhood groups of elderly and differently abled ones. We also work for their empowerment and their livelihood activities. And we now manage many birth institutions for mentally challenged and physically challenged children, and also a government program called Destitute to Free Kerala program, especially for destitutes, is now implemented through our KUDUMBASHREE. And our KUDUMBASHREE members distribute food kits to these destitute and also conduct medical camps to them and also facilitate the infrastructure, other facilities to these destitute. And in as a part of social empowerment, we are also constituted neighborhood groups of tribes and coastal and in coastal area. We also work for their empowerment, livelihood activities, nutritional programs, and also educational programs. In addition to social empowerment, we are, as I mentioned earlier, our KUDUMBASHREE is a women empowerment organization also. It aims at women empowerment. We know women, whether they may be an Indian, American or African, are treated as second-class citizens. That is not because of a lack of ability, only because of a lack of space. And we, KUDUMBASHREE, giving opportunities to their empowerment. And we have here in our local bodies, we have established gender resource centers in 90% of our local bodies. And through these gender resource centers, in convergence with our local bodies, we conduct many counseling programs, empowerment programs, and gender self-learning programs. And also we have conducted vulnerability mapping, and also we have some programs for the victims of anti-human trafficking. And our Kudumbashree CDS chairpersons, who are the chairpersons or leaders of the Apex body Community Development Society, are now became vendors and can involve in the purchase activity and construction activities in the local bodies. Here in Kerala, we established in our 14th district a 24-hour working short stay home called Snehida. That means French.
Sorry, sorry, you've got 1 more minute left.
See?
You have 1 minute left.
Okay, thank you. And we have established 24-hour short stay home for the victims of the victims of domestic and sexual abuse. And we, Kudumbashree, has changed the proverb about women. Now, as mentioned by our Balan sir, that we faced two floods, and now it is the calamity is in the form of COVID-19. And our Kudumbashree members are now proving their possibilities in helping the management of rehabilitation camps, training programs, and also food distribution and services, and this in these rehabilitation camps, and collects necessary goods. And also we have collected 13 crore rupees from our thrift deposit, and then donated to the Chief Minister's Disaster Management Fund. Now we have got here 50% reservation in the local bodies, and our Kudumbashree now ensure the ascent of sufficient leaders from our part. And now I think, and I would like to inform that our Kudumbashree has now selected as National Resource Organization in 18 states and 2 countries also. And now we the women are now became more confident, and they were more house-bonded earlier, now became more confident and became captain of local development programs. Thank you, ma'am. It is very difficult to bring a nutshell.
Sorry. Thank you, Chavi. Sorry to have interrupted you, and thank you very much. So, colleagues, we've had our presentation. That was very, very interesting, and thank you very, very much, ma'am. We'd like to use these few minutes that we have left for questions on the floor. Hello, and Kidar is going to be handling this session. Okay.
Kiru Naidu.
Kiru Naidu will handle this session.
Right, okay, can you take over? I've asked Kidan if we can extend this. I don't know, it's Zoom, and it can go off, or we can extend it. Carry on, Kiru.
Anbonani Nonke, Namaste, Namaskaram, Vanakkam. It's a delight that we've had a great session like this, and let me acknowledge all of you on this panel and convey our congratulations to Dr. Balan, but also it's a very proud moment, as Councillor Previn Vedin related just now, that the election of Councillor Dolly Govender as the mayor of Guaduguza is a very proud moment
in the history and evolution of local government in South Africa. So just all these distinguished participants on this program of the Gandhi Development Trust has really given gravity to the programs, especially in this October month in which we honor Gandhiji's birth. So the programs that we would normally do in the Gandhi Development Trust is that we'd have an engagement with the community. And you will be aware as the participants that we've had this go out on social media, and there's been a whole flurry of comments and questions and so on, but we're not able to field all of them. So forgive me for not being able to pose the questions back so you as the participants could respond. But what we've done is encourage people who are asking the questions to instead engage with the participants. So what we'll do on the social media platform is put your contact details by email or any other form, and would be grateful if you could engage with that. But let me just do a quick squiz through from my notes. Most of them have been congratulatory messages to Dr. Balan, paying tribute to his work together with his colleagues in the democratization and participation in local government in Kerala and in the Indo-Pacific region as well. So let us thank Kanya Kumari Pariachi for her kind words, Ajit Menon, Ranish Kumar. I'm afraid I couldn't translate the Malayalam comments that came from Lakshmanan Kuveri and Joshi Mankana. We also had inputs from Dhanaraj Kijra, Vijaya Nambiar, and Savitri Nambiar. So a whole lot of issues. There was comment about Mr. Molloy's presentation about the provinces and where we're at in terms of the reform of the provinces in South Africa. So clearly a topical debate. Good comments about Councillor Bedin's presentation also, and one that came through here said, congratulated the GDT for at last, and sounds a little bit facetious, but at last putting young people onto the program. And I think that that's a lesson for us, that when we want to talk through these issues, that it's vitally important that we're able to engage younger people, and this kind of input that Councillor Vedin has put forward has certainly struck a chord among younger people. A point about Dr. Balan's presentation, there was one person remarking that this notion of participatory planning is something new to our lexicon in local government in South Africa. Because the language that we're used to is about participatory democracy. And in this instance, this idea of participatory planning is an important one. And Her Worship, the Mayor, Councillor Governor will tell you that we've now introduced the district development model in South Africa, and it's still early days because it was only about a year ago that His Excellency the President of the Republic launched that in our province in KwaZulu-Natal. But there are questions, Councillor, that I've encouraged people to write you directly. People were asking how it is that the district development model is playing itself out. One comment about gross national happiness, and that was, I think, from Dr. Balan's presentation, but how in Bhutan they measure gross national happiness. And I think that when we look back on Gandhian teachings, the pursuit was always about social justice and happiness within ourselves and the environment as well. So all of those sort of a whole range of very interesting topics and comments and a few questions. So I think that we ought to take this as an expression of the fact that people who've been following this program have benefited enormously from the themes, and that there's considerable work to be done going forward. So with that said, and looking at the clock, let me take this opportunity on behalf of our Chairperson, Comrade Leela Gandhi, and the members of the Gandhi Development Trust and the Phoenix Settlement Trust, as well as all of the fraternal organizations in which we work, all of the people that work on this pro-peace agenda, to thank all of you as the panelists for having contributed so meaningfully in this session. And even in this time when we are challenged by COVID-19, we're able to have this kind of robust engagement. So thanks to Ursula, who chaired the second part of the session, as well as everybody who's put together the logistics so that we could talk across the ocean in this way and keep up the kind of philosophy and political ideology, and as well as a platform for activism that Gandhiji left us. So thank you all very much. And with those words, we will close the session.
Nandri.
Thank you, everybody. And thank you, Dr. Balan. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, madam. Thank you.
Thank you.
Nandri to one and all, thank you. Ella Gandhi, I think we must have more sessions like this, at least getting other countries also involved, especially India with the smaller towns. I think we need to actually learn a lot more from our mother country. Nandri.